Hello, everybody. It's Holger Müller here from Constellation Research, here sharing with you my traditional pre-Sapphire, which I do with all large events out there, my pre-top 10 things to look at and watch for, at least the ones I'm looking for, not just from a personal agenda, but that's what our customers are telling us. That's what we're paying attention to. That's what we're telling them to pay attention to. And so with no further ado, quick disclaimers though, I've not been pre-briefed by SAP. I don't know what they specifically are announcing. There's no book of news like at the parallel happening build event, right? Big partners, SAP, Microsoft events in the same week. But fine, I'll be in the Florida swamps with many of my colleagues. Can't wait to be there again. But let's jump into this with no further ado. What are the top 10 things to look out for at Sapphire? If you know this and have seen this with me, I always start with a funny one, right? And the funny one is this the best celebrity guest we ever had at Sapphire with nobody else than Jessica Albar, certainly good motivational speaker, seen her speaking before like half a dozen times or so. Let's see how much she can bring things together for SAP, but this is just a teaser warm-up for you guys to listen to this. Not so much a teaser, is very much what is happening with HCM. Right, so it's been quiet on the SuccessFactors side. People are in every SAP business, and I'm looking at specifically because across all the automation area, finance, manufacturing, customer-facing things in CRM, purchasing, HCM is the one which can be most transformed by AI. Why? Because of the dialogue, the conversational UX, which is available, capable of doing things. SAP partner, IBM, very big SAP partner, right? Used and became now their Orchestrate product, as they shared at the Think conference a few weeks ago, and even before at the analyst meeting last year in fall. They used the conversation user experience to put in front of the HCM systems. They managed, I'm not going to say from where, they managed to switch completely the HCM systems to SuccessFactors. So we have the good news here for SAP without the employees knowing, right? And that's the key automation area. I think HCM is the place where the rubber hits the road in 2025. And that's why it's such a great grader to see how good SAP is really doing with its AI platform, which of course going to be huge announcement, use questions over in Orlando. Over to number 8. Number 8, well, before that, right? So Google Photos conveniently reminded me today that I've been in the Florida swamps about 7 years or 8 years ago in May 17th, 2017. And guess what was on the screen, right? Let me make this a little bigger even. SAP talked in a keynote. I don't recognize a gentleman present here. SAP Run Simple. Remember that slogan, right? And the headline was a demo of the conversational AI. SAP was ahead of its time, obviously. This is 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 2017, 8 years ago. Can't do the math, right? Conversational AI, and here we are. We're still looking for it. Joule was launched, of course, was launched fittingly at SuccessFactors event. Kudos for that. But where's the conversational AI for HCM? Now, can SAP, more coming to the big elephant in the room, can SAP leverage AI to help their customers upgrade, right? Customers sit on a lot of code. Not all of that code is being used. There were some potential previews from Thomas Saueressig in the previous years, in addition of looking at the code, which code is used, which code is relevant, do you need to transfer all the code? But AI is really good at translating and moving code. So it will be interesting to see if in the day 2 keynote, which will be led by Thomas Saueressig and some other colleagues, will be able to use AI to transfer the relevant, important customizations to S4HANA. So that's an important area to look at. Now, the overall question is, of course, right, 2 years ago, Christian Klein was very honest and said SAP will not be able to build everything that is needed. So a big departure from SAP of the old, where it was all will come from SAP. So the tool which falls into that is, of course, Build. Bad slide for me is Build, and of course, SAP Joule Studio, which has gone GA, is going GA. I'm not sure about the exact status on that, but that's the combination. Are the SAP tools good enough for customers to fill the gaps that SAP maybe starting at Sapphire will explicitly say we're not going to provide them, or that they think they want to build for their own differentiation, because software is differentiation. Software powers the world. I don't want to have the same software for everybody, so I have to build it myself. And SAP Build is, of course, that enterprise application platform, as I call them, the PaaS tool of the SaaS vendor, the ability to extend, the ability to integrate, the ability to build additional things. Talking about integrate, another slide here. Will be very interesting how SAP is doing integration. That was on the banners of Christian Klein when he became CEO 4 or 5 years ago. It should have been a topic every year because integration never stops. SAP has built a lot of pre-canned integration. Will be interesting what the news and the uptake around that is. Off to number 6. What is the innovation beyond AI, right? I mean, 2022, 2023, everybody forgave the ERP vendors or the enterprise software vendors in general. Hey, we're only going to talk about AI. Cool. You should have AI. We depend on AI. Now there's a better understanding that there's more happening. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Mohammed Alam, who's going to do the product demo, is going to talk about what is new in finance, what is new in HCM, what is new in manufacturing, where SAP has a huge install base. What is happening with the venerable old Ariba product on the purchasing and spend management, the area where Mohammed Alam came from. So it's going to see what functional, because the world hasn't stopped doing stuff, right? Only because AI is happening, right? Companies still want new best practices, new better ways to automate their business. Off to number 5. Where does the big announcement, and I think we'll see it everywhere in the Orange County Convention Center, where will BDC, aka the SAP Business Data Cloud, land, do things, and be present? And there's different scenarios which could be coming out here, right? Christian Klein was very clear at the launch in February this year that it's all not about giving away the SAP semantic data model. That does not work so well with what customers are doing, and I think also what Databricks wanted, and I said very clearly, it's so hard to get the data out of SAP. They don't want to have limited data out of SAP. They want all of the SAP data, ideally close to real time, in a data lake, in a lakehouse, and SAP BDC. So we'll see if it's going to be this complete move over into BDC, if it's going to be selective, which customers have to do manually, which they don't want to do manually because everybody's going to do that over and over again. Or, which is my biggest concern right now from SAP also talking February about the inside ups, it's just going to feed selected scenarios that SAP has handcrafted and provided to customers. It's of course legitimate for SAP to build analytical applications, and they should compete on the merit of being good enough, but limiting customers from what data is going to be out of the box available in BDC would be not a smart choice. This one will be a very key one to watch, which depends also, can you build AI and the Joule tools, or have to rely on third-party tools? And nothing really happened with the BDC announcement. So, which comes to the key thing, of course, no conference in 2025 either about no mention of AI. How viable is SAP's AI strategy, right? There has been a repositioning with Databricks, obviously, under it. I think a change for the better. SAP support for an overall data lake house, as I call the combination of data lake and lake house, structured, unstructured data together, is a key innovation customers have been waiting for SAP to do since a long time, since 2013. I'm asking for this because customers are asking us. That's the only way in the area of infinite computing to do things. So how viable will this be? How powerful is the Joule Studio going to be? Can you, for instance, build your own agent by voice, right? Which is the most intuitive, most human way to build an agent, something competition has shown already. So where will SAP stand from that perspective? And how viable, and how can we project how that AI strategy is going to work out? That's number 4. And to show how, again, courtesy of Google Photos reminding me today that I was in the swamps, like I mentioned, on May 17th, 2017, 8 years ago, finally said it right? Make applications intelligent in Hasso Plattner's keynote demo, right? Then it was, of course, SAP Leonardo machine learning, which was on deck. Nobody talked about AI at the time, which I think is much more honest from the perspective because they're doing machine learning on the same platforms, as you can see here, of course, SAP Cloud Platform, SAP HANA, and so on. And then to make a little cut off in my picture, unfortunately, the intelligent self-driving ERP system, which I think overall is something super compelling as a vision of ERP, which we'll learn a little more in my things to watch in a moment. But let's move on beyond the reminder of a slide. Number 3, is AI still saving S/4HANA Cloud, right? What do I mean with that, right? With that, I mean that SAP needs to show adoption of S/4HANA cloud revenue, obviously, for customers. That has been a challenge in the past. The financial markets have not always been happy with SAP. That has dramatically changed with the rise of AI because customers know I'm only going to get AI in the cloud. I need to move my system of record, aka my ERP, into the cloud. So is AI still saving S/4HANA Cloud, or was it just a warm fire in Q1, Q4 for SAP, doing good sales strategies, finding the low-hanging fruits? So it's going to be very interesting if that momentum can continue in Q2, which of course is still going on and far from being over. But it's going to be very interesting to see if AI is still the driver which moves customer to S/4HANA Cloud. Number 2, right? Where the customer is excited, right? This conference is not for the analysts, it's not for the media, so we amplify and we comment on this, but where customers excited by the news and announcements and by the overall progress that SAP has shown to make things moving forward towards what my new number 1 is, right? My number 1 is, which I ask every market leader, and SAP is the market leader. Yeah, has SAP laid out a compelling future of ERP, right? The question is, in the area of AI, what is the future of ERP? How will ERP be done in 2030 from now, right? There's nothing which you can expect from any of the category leaders to do overnight. It needs to be vested and tested with customers, but there needs to be a roadmap and there needs to be a compelling vision, which is up to Christian Klein, Mohamed Alam, and the whole team to articulate. And I think 2025 should be the early first start on that. If nothing goes in that direction, shows that they're super busy with things. It's good to be busy with things, but that thought leadership really needs to come out. And I hold every market leader. I do the same thing for Salesforce, for CRM. I do the same thing for Workday, just in the HCM category as an example. I hold market leader to higher standards. And this is the prime event for SAP to articulate that vision. So has SAP laid out that compelling future of ERP? Well, here you have it, a little more than 12 minutes. My collection of the top 10 things which you should look for at SAP Sapphire. Of course, there are lots of other things to watch. I love to hear from you which ones those will be, which one you're looking for. I love to hear from you how you see the rating, how SAP did on all my 10, starting from Jessica Alba as a joking point. Hopefully, it's going to be a great motivational keynote, all the way to has SAP laid out what really matters, the compelling vision, how ERP should be running in enterprises in the 21st century. This is Holger Müller. I will be in the Florida swamps. Say hi to me. My colleague Liz Miller will be there too, so it's going to be the Müller show. Say hi to us. We always love to hear from you. Give us your feedback here. Be social. Let us know. Looking forward to hear from you, and safe travels to Orlando.